They're 90.
This is 90 years old?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, well, we can just end the segment right here because I'm blown away at the fact that we have a rolling pin on the desk here that's 90 years old.
Exactly right.
John, that's older than both of us combined, almost.
That's exactly right. But I tell you what, when you're
We're talking pumpkin pie, though.
Yeah, when you're making a pie, I think probably one of the most important things is the crust.
Yes.
And to make the crust is not difficult. You know, it's fairly easy to do. Practice, practice, practice. And a lot of people put Crisco. A lot of people put Crisco in.
Okay.
I do. A lot of people put butter in. And of course, the ultimate is lard.
Yeah. A little bit of lard goes in, or goes a long way?
You can use Crisco or you can use lard.
Okay.
A combination of that and butter and everything like that.
Okay. But that, you say, that really does make a difference in the taste.
That's exactly right. Now, the thing what's going to happen today is I have all the ingredients all lined up. Will you quit that? I have all the ingredients lined up, and I even have a recipe. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to throw you in the fire.
Ooh, okay.
Because here's the recipe, here's your water and your salt, here's the flour and everything, and it's all yours. And we will come back. You know, periodically and see how you do.
Wow.
You've got to make the dough. The only thing I'm going to say is take the pastry blender and blend the shortening up real good in the flour. Okay. Then you add your water and go to it. This is going to be interesting. I'm glad you got an apron on.
Yeah, had to, definitely. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So
exactly.
Keep my fingers crossed.
And as we go to break, let's check in on the pie making process. How's it going over there, Tim?
Hey, going great. I've got the flour, the salt, and the cold water in here. I'm stirring up the crust. It's going well, thanks to...
You're doing okay so far.
Good tutelage here from John. He's a good teacher. We'll be back to see how the progress goes. Stick around.
With our WSAZ chef extraordinaire, John Marra, here to talk about pumpkin pie today, but right now we are just talking about the crust.
Yeah, what do you put in here, John?
You know, really, I use Crisco. People can, like I said, you can use butter or you can use lard. But a couple things I watched you do it. The only thing I would suggest is when you put the flour in here and then put the shortening in here, you work it.
That's when I should have worked it.
Yeah, you should work it with your pastry blender.
Okay.
Real good.
I added the water before I started mixing everything.
And the Crisco should have been about pea size. Okay. You know, in there, and then you add the water little by little. But you know, you're not doing bad. And what you do is everything needs to be cold. And
all the ingredients. You said the flour needs to be cold too.
Yeah, the flour needs to be cold, and the water needs to be cold because your flakiness comes when you have pieces of either lard or butter or Crisco in that, and then when it goes in the oven, that lard or shortening will then melt, and that has a void in there, and that's what gives you your flaky pie crust.
So that is a big tip right there.
Yeah, it really is, and you just start from the middle and just work out.
Now, how thin am I making this baby?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. There's your pie pan, and flip it upside down, and it's got to be about 2 or 3 inches wider than that.
Oh, so it needs to be out.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep going.
Put some muscle into it.
All right, so
there
just
you
keep
go.
Pushing out.
There you go. And it's not.
I was afraid to go too much. No, this is different. This is very different than when I made the biscuits.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're not rolling it out. Biscuits, you roll it out to about a half-inch thick or something like that. But this has got to be real thin because that pie that you see right there has got a thin crust to it. And then, but one thing that's important. This is, how old is this?
90 years old.
90 years old.
Look here. I can't get over that.
Watch this. It turns.
It's the mechanics of it are amazing.
And when you go buy, anybody buys a rolling pin, you want the center to roll because when you're through, we may not get it done, but you need to roll that up on your rolling pin and then roll it off real easy like. And it's much easier if it does that. But anyway, the most important thing is you can make this dough. I made this last night. Well, the one that's in the pie. Right. Yeah. And you can actually put it in the refrigerator. It helps if it's in the refrigerator and it cools down at least an hour or something like that. Okay. Now, what you want to do with this is so it doesn't stick on that, is just lift it up and then kind of
shift it around.
Put
Get some more flour
in
there.
Okay.
And then that way it's not going to stick to the table.
And don't be afraid of too much flour being on that.
No, don't worry.
It's not like, again, it's not like biscuits. Biscuits, you can't have too much flour.
That's exactly right. And you know, we're probably not going to have time to do it, but when you get that on top in your pie pan, if you got to patch it a little bit, you take a little bit of water, and some of the little pieces you have left, you can add water to the sides and squeeze it together.
Isn't that something?
And so, and by the time you cook the pie, nobody will ever know it wasn't perfectly round.
Of course not, because they're going for the taste
and that's
anyway.
The point,
that's exactly right. You know, and so what you want to do is when you get through, then here's it's going to take a while for you to do this, but here's the thing about having a rolling pin this way. Just take it and then roll it up on the rolling pin and slide that pie pan over here. And then put it in the middle, and then what you're going to do, watch that rolling pin.
Oh, it just lays it in there.
Just lays it right in. And that's a good way to do it. Tim, here, you've never made pie dough, but you have made a heck of a start.
Wow.
You did pretty good. Look at this.
In making it, yes.
Yeah, I never have made pie. I've made pizza dough before, which again is a little similar, but completely different.
You could tell with hitting
pizza
the dough,
you don't care if it's not flaky. You want this flaky.
Right.
So everything cold.
Everything cold.
That's important.
Even the flour.
Even the flour, which I did not realize. Everything cold. Now you're not talking about ice cold water, just cold water.
And by the way, if you want to, stick this in the refrigerator.
Oh, that helps too.
And don't work it really a lot with your hands because your hands are warm. Just do minimal amounts like that. And so those pieces of shortening or butter or lard stay whole in that thing.
So
and that's what's going to give you a flaky pie.
Your kitchen should be cool probably because you don't want the you don't want the surface, the rolling surface to be hot either.
Well, that's kind of difficult to get that cool that way. You know?
But you don't want to make sure like to wipe the surface down with a hot cloth before you start.
Not at all.
Keep it cool.
But you have got, honestly, I didn't know what to expect, Tim, here, but you did a really good job.
I do some baking. Some baking, some cooking. Not a lot. My wife does 99% of it, but I get to do it about once a week. So
and this recipe for the pie crust, and we'll talk about the actual pumpkin mix, is on our website.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks for teaching me that. That's great knowledge.
This is a good start. All right, we aren't finished yet, though, so stick around. Still ahead on First Look at 4. We're talking about the pie filling, too.
Exactly.
WSAZ chef extraordinaire John Marra, and we have moved from pie crust, although I'm still kind of finishing this up, to talk about the delicious pumpkin pie filling.
And before we get started with that, we want to go over the ingredients real quick. You're going to need eggs, sugar, ground cinnamon, salt, ground ginger, ground cloves, fresh pumpkin, or you could do squash too, and a can of evaporated milk. All right, John.
Exactly right. And the most important ingredient, of course, is the pumpkin or squash.
I see.
This is a pie pumpkin, and this pie pumpkin will probably give you one pie. And this butternut squash, and I'll tell you how to cook it. This will give you about one pie also. What you're going to do, you're going to cut this acorn or butternut squash in half, take the seeds out, and then put it into a pan, a little bit of water, put some saran wrap over it, and cook it for about 20 minutes. It's going to look like this. And what you do is then you it's real soft. It's hot too. So you got to be careful once it comes out of the microwave. And you scoop everything out, and this is what you're going to have. And for a pie, an average size pie is 1.5 cups of this, but I don't make an average pie. I make it 1.5. I make 1.5 the amount of squash, Tim, 1.5 times the pie dough.
I noticed that.
And I want. Wow, way to go.
Look how good he did on that pie crust.
That's exactly right. Very good.
There it is.
You know what? You're going to have to be doing this at home too. But anyway, but you're going to put this in your container, and then you're going to put your eggs and the evaporated milk and the sugar and all your spices in. Here's a little secret, and that is once you get this out of the shell itself like this, put that either in a blender or use a electric mixer and mix it so it's nice and smooth on it. Because
like a smoothie.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's got a little bit of strings in it,
Sure, yeah.
and it doesn't give you the really nice consistency that you're used to in a pumpkin pie. Exactly right. And then all you need to do is fill this up, and then, like I said, you're going to cut this off, leaving about inch and a half all the way around.
Just like kitchen scissors?
Right, exactly right. And I'll just show you like this, and all you have to do is just flip it under like this.
So you flip it under, okay.
Yeah, put it under like that, then take your fingers, and all you have to do is scrunch it, and you make your nice little design all the way around it.
Very cool.
And one of the most important things is don't get your oven too hot, because what's going to happen is that the crust, the outside crust, is going to get too brown.
Yeah, you want to burn
and
that.
some people even put a little bit of aluminum foil around the edges, so in fact it doesn't get.
Oh yeah, I do that. I do that with my pies when I make the pies.
Yes.
I use just a little bit of aluminum foil on around the outside, just so this part doesn't. But again, I've never done it with a homemade pie. I've always used the store-bought crust.
Now, I'll talk about store-bought. You can get this pumpkin. I keep this in there because of the recipe is on the back. This is pumpkin. Don't use pumpkin pie mix.
Right.
Use the pure pumpkin.
Yeah.
But guess
what
what's
happens if you use the mix?
Huh? And then you add all those spices. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Like overkill.
But on the back of it, there's your recipe.
Oh, there it is.
So all you have to do is use the fresh pumpkin, either from a squash or a pumpkin, and then use the recipe on here. But Betty Crocker, the recipes we have on our website are Betty Crocker's, and I haven't found any better recipe than Betty Crocker's.
Betty Crocker.
I'm sure
Betty
you've
Crocker's
looked too,
pie. Way to go! Look at that. Betty Crocker's pie or the pumpkin pie filling that goes in it.
So you're not using, when you say you're picking this up just to get the ingredients out the back.
Exactly
you're not opening this up and putting it in with your squash ingredients.
Absolutely not. Now you can if you want to, but
no.
You know
you want the real stuff.
No, I like the real thing.
You gotta go.
I like to start from scratch. Use the pie dough from scratch. Use the pumpkin or the squash from scratch, and it's not that difficult. You're very creative.
And save this, you said, because you can use it to patch it.
Like right here, like for instance, if you don't have enough right here,
hole right there.
so you put a little bit of water on this side, a little water on this side, patch it in like that, and then fold it under.
I see.
Yeah, you can cover your mistakes up.
That's perfect. Nobody knows then.
But you don't have a lot of mistakes on there.
I know. I'm impressed.
He did a good job.
He did good.
Yeah, very good. But anyway, let's if we want to, we can maybe, you want to try one, see what it tastes like. Okay.
Definitely.
There you go.
This looks
and
fantastic.
you like Cool Whip on yours?
Yes, please.
Okay. Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. Plop and plop. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. But you'll notice that the real pumpkin pie has some really good consistency to it. What I like is what I don't like, it does not have the pasty taste or consistency that your store-bought pumpkin pies have.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's a little bit softer.
It is.
And and it's got a little bit better consistency to it.
It's completely
and the
different.
spices in here, you can see them.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
This is the best pumpkin pie that you'll have. Homemade.
Oh, scratch is the best. Yep.
Homemade beats this.
Oh,
by
hands down.
A mile.
Yeah.
It's the country mile.
And like I said, I make a manly pie.
Wow.
I have half again. Here comes Tony. Tony, you want a piece?
Tony's been waiting
I am
for
a
pie.
connoisseur of pumpkin pie.
Okay. Here you go.
Absolutely
Right
love
here.
This is the best pumpkin pie you'll have.
Mrs. Smith used to be my favorite from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith.
Is she from Philadelphia?
You're going to have to knock on Mrs. Smith's door and tell her sorry.
And then the pumpkin
Marra,
festival, the media night, they serve a killer pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah. But like I said, I make a manly pie. My recipe calls for 1.5 times the amount of ingredients for the pie crust because I like to have it wide so I don't have to patch.
This is phenomenal. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Smart thinking, though. Yeah.
Well, it's delicious. If you want the recipe, we actually have it posted right now on our First Look at 4 Facebook page. It's there, so log on and like us while you're there. and then check it out. John, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Appreciate it,
Mrs.
John.
Smith from Philadelphia,
Tips.
give John a call, will you?
Yeah, she doesn't. That poor lady doesn't stand a chance against John.
We're going to keep on
Great
eating.
job, John. This is excellent.
This is
Thank you
Easy
so
to do.
much.
You did a super job.
Thank you.
We're all
Well,
very
it's,
proud of
I
you,
have a
Tim.
great person to teach me, and taste this, phenomenal.
Yes,
That's
can't
the way
beat
to
it.
do it. Yeah.